Make one change. Design your world app in graphic design class. In order to ignite a transformation in education, who better to look to than the education reformer himself, John Dewey, who eloquently wrote that if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. With those words ringing as true today as they did 100 years ago, I would like to propose that West Middle School in Andover introduce a new, year-long class where 8th graders will be expected to develop a new app that helps them succeed in life. My vision is that we task each student with identifying a skill they would like to get better at, and then challenge them to create an app that helps them develop that skill. It would be our job to teach them how to make apps and to teach them graphic design. For context, I teach in a 6th through 8th grade middle school where students all have access to laptops during classes. However, they've been given no formal technology training during their time in public schools. In order to arrive at the conclusion that students need to learn to design apps and computer graphics, I had to ask myself, what skills do middle schoolers need? I came up with a few core strategies that would best serve middle schoolers. The first skill involves technology. Digital technologies and app technologies are only on the rise. In the past 5 years, the job sector has grown by 30%, and in the next 5 years, it's predicted to grow fivefold. I think it is a fair bet to think that by giving students app-making skills today, it will yield positive results for them tomorrow. But let's be honest, as much as we all want middle schoolers to become college and career ready, the most pressing need for them right now is simply to turn them into human beings. And it's not their fault. Their brains and bodies are going through a turbulent time. It is our job to help guide them into being the people they want to become. The goal of the project is for students to be able to identify an area they want to improve upon and then to help give them the tools to improve it. This could range from working on their vocabulary acquisition to working on their soccer skills. This work will help students realize they have control over their own learning. By creating real apps which are available for download, students will be downloading one another's work, but also by virtue of the project will be sharing what makes them unique and will allow students to connect on a deeper level. By sharing a common challenge, students can develop the emotional intelligence they will need in order to be productive citizens. While it is important to build community through common experience, it is also important to design learning experiences that resonate with students on a unique and personal level. Apps allow for that. Students can use humor, storytelling, art, music, just about anything to achieve their goals. App design also allows for students from different backgrounds to access an authentic and motivating education. Apps may also be a tool which helps equal the playing field between students who come from different economic backgrounds. And when we talk about motivating, the potential for students with app development is real in a way that almost nothing else in school is. Take the story of Michael Saman, who was earning $12,000 a month and became the primary household earner when he was only 14. Or we could simply tantalize students with stories of teenagers who became millionaires through app design. But even if our students don't become rich, they can still develop apps that make a positive impact on the world. Sumly was made by a 15-year-old, and it provides the reader with concise summaries about news articles. The app Sit With Us was made by a 16-year-old, Natalie Hampton, and allows students who find themselves sitting alone in the cafeteria to organize in order to avoid the humiliation of isolation. There are tons of amazing apps. For instance, 14-year-old Mercer Henderson's Friendsits, which is a clothing swap for teens. Farm Alarm, made by a group of 7th graders, which reminds students to take their medications. And then there's the app Finish, designed by two 17-year-old students, which is a time management app designed to help students organize their demanding schedules. But even if the apps don't change the world, let John Dewey again remind us that failure is instructive. The person who really thinks learns quite as much from his failure as his successes. Even if the students struggle to make an amazing end product, the process itself will challenge them and help them grow. So what do we need? The first thing we need is time. Ideally, we would like the students to meet every day for 45 minutes. In our current class schedule, students have a flex class where the teachers run non-academic classes. I propose that this course takes the place of flexed classes. Who do we need? We need 2 teachers to co-teach this course. We need one person who has made apps before and who has coding experience. We also need a person who has worked on creating digital art before. They should also both be trained in executive functioning coaching so they can assist students to understand themselves and to understand what they need to do to improve. What stuff do we need? We would want to buy a class set of tablets through which we would allow students to work on their phone, although we would also allow students to work on their phones if that's what they preferred. We'd also need licenses for Adobe Photoshop. We would like to recognize that with technology, there is currently an enormous range of experiences, so we would like to have access to basic software on one end, and on the other to allow students to dare as boldly as they wish, using high-end high school or college curriculum, such as with edX. I believe that an app and graphic design class would transform the experience of students in my school by giving them a real-world skill, but also by giving them a connection to themselves and to their classmates that is beyond anything they can currently experience in their educational journey at the moment. That is why we're proposing the Design Your World app class. Thank you very much.